Top tips to your wedding photography. First tip is choose a professional wedding photographer. A professional wedding photographer will know the whole procedure of the day. They'll be one step ahead of everything. They know when to capture the key moments and they know how to make you feel at ease with having your photo taken. Second tip, do meet your wedding photographer. It's absolutely imperative that you get on with your wedding photographer. Take the time out, have a really good chat, go for coffee, ask them all the questions that you feel are necessary for you to feel comfortable with that wedding photographer. Tip number 3, do consider photography as an important expense at your wedding. Don't always go for the cheap option. Do think that these pictures are going to be with you for the rest of your life, so you need to make sure they're the best quality you can get. You know, sometimes people will put other priorities on expenditure, but do remember that the photos will be with you for a lifetime. Will you remember what the first course tasted like? No offence to caterers, but do think about where your wedding costs are and where you're going to give the proportionate amount of your expenses to, and please make wedding photography a big consideration. Tip number 4 when considering your wedding photography. Do think about the style of photographer that you're going to choose. This style of photographer must correspond with the style of your wedding. Have you got a vintage wedding, a modern wedding? Do you want it very formal? Do you want it quite relaxed, reportage? Just bear in mind all of those aspects when looking at your photographer. Tip number 5, do trust your photographer. It's important to remember that they do this all the time. They know exactly what they're doing. You mustn't worry whether they've captured this or captured that. If you've chosen the right one, the very professional photographer will know exactly what you want. They would have had meetings with you to discuss everything about your day. They would have got inside your mind. They should know exactly what you want, so do trust them. Tip number 6, do tell your photographer about significant guests. Things like, has your auntie made the wedding cake? Have you got a friend arriving from Australia that you haven't seen for years? All these quite particular guests that you really, really want to have, captured. I would like to know who those people are, and I will definitely make a point of finding out who they are on the day. I also make sure that I have a meeting with my clients 2 to 3 weeks before the wedding to ask all of these questions. So that's important to find out about your photographer if they are going to consider all these things. Tip number 7, do think about all the different products that your photographer is going to offer you. Ask them if they include an album, ask them if they include a high resolution disc, and if you don't know what a high resolution disc is, do ask. Ask them if it's an online gallery. Find out all of that to make sure that's everything that you want from your wedding day photography.